All right, guys, so here we have today probably the second most significant structural defects that I've seen this entire year. Now let me give you the quick backstory here. The buyer's agent, my client, was told by the listing agent that they already had a home inspection done on this place and they have the report. And that the report said that there was no structural concerns with the home, that there was some minor foundation cracks with no displacement, and they believed that the cracks were caused by vegetation on the exterior. They didn't say tree root, it just said vegetation on the exterior. Okay, now I want you guys to remember that in the report, which I saw today, it was a 25-page report. It was one of the worst home inspection reports I've ever seen, and it was a local company right here in New York. And it said that there was no structural concerns, that there was no structural movement, and wait until you guys see what I'm going to show you inside this house. So now I'm going to flip my camera around, I'm going to show you where I started, and then we're going to walk through this house into the basement. Alright, I got to grab my flashlight first because we're going to need that in a second. Alright, so when I first got here to the house, I walked down here and I noticed that the home, I held up my level and I could see that the roof line was slanted towards this corner. And I could tell that the deck itself was slanted downhill. When I stood on the deck, it was literally leaning down this hill. So I was looking at it, just trying to make sure that it was just the deck, not the home. I was trying to differentiate, between where the settlement, the leaning, whatever was happening, structural movement. I wanted to know whether it was just the deck or whether it was the home itself. I had walked around this side, and there's an entire embankment on this side of the home. It goes right here into the neighbor's driveway, and this embankment is incredibly unstable. These cars weren't here earlier and I was able to walk up there, but all this dirt is just, washing down onto this driveway. And I can see here that there's been some parge coating and some repair work done to the foundation. But I could tell that this corner of the home here was settling into the ground right here. And this embankment is very unstable. Okay? So I came up here to the house. I'm walking in, obviously there's problems here. And I stand here and I hold my camera level. There it is. My camera right now is level. You can see the amount of slope to this deck into that corner. But strangely enough, and I know you can't really go off the siding itself, but when I put a level here, it was level. It was perfectly level. When I put a level here, it was perfectly level. Then all of a sudden we come over here and I notice these slant down and these slant down even more. I put my level there. Okay, that's just siding. You can't really use siding for that, but right now I'm just trying to connect some dots and see what's going on here. So I walk into the house. And here we are in the home. I'm walking over to this corner of the house, and I am now looking uphill at the rest of the house. This is a slope uphill. This is all sloping down right here. Okay, let me see if I can try to get you to where you can see this on the camera. But that right there is level. You can definitely see the slope is sloping, the floor is sloping down. All right. I come in here. There's been a lot of fresh paint work. There's no cracks at all in any of the drywall, so this has all been freshly repaired and painted. I told the client, I said, I never go in the basement first, but today we're going to. So today I walk straight down to the basement. Now I want you to remember what the home inspector just said, and this was 3 weeks ago, that there was no structural movement, no structural concerns. I come down here, started off at the stairs, and I noticed all this fresh parge coating. This is relatively recent stuff, okay? As a matter of fact, it looks very recent, but I noticed new cracks in the parge coating, and I don't know if you can see through the side lighting, there is relatively significant displacement of this cinder block wall. That's all been parge coated, but that's a cinder block. You can see it up there. It's concrete masonry units. But that is a very significant, step crack with displacement that's basically been covered up with mortar. I start to notice all of this is freshly parge coated. The first thing that I saw is the first bit of displacement. Okay, still not catastrophic, but you can start to see this isn't good. But just as I flipped around here, I don't know if you guys can see, this wall is leaning that much. That's level. That's the wall. This has all been parge coated recently. That's fresh right there. Look at that. That's all fresh parge coating. I notice a vertical crack in the corner of this window here, but I came down here, I followed this down where the wall is leaning. We've got a crack in fresh parge coating, which indicates there's continued structural movement or current structural movement. And then I came up here and I saw a very significant step crack. It goes down to a nice big fat horizontal crack with what looks to be about 3/8 of an inch displacement. So this right here, that is not an insignificant amount of displacement, but this isn't the worst part, okay? You look here. So that is a relatively significant horizontal crack that goes into a step crack. Step crack has displacement. That all indicates the top of this section right here is leaning over and moving, and that's separating right there. I come over here and I start to see just how significant this displacement is. That right there is about a 1/2 inch of displacement. That is not insignificant right there. Then I looked over here and I saw all of this new repair that had been done. Look at all the rubble that's in here. This has been patched recently. It is cracked again. That's about an 1/8 inch gap right there. But now check this out. They did this nice repair over here, except we've got another horizontal crack coming across the wall here. And guess where that horizontal crack terminates? Right into this nice parge coating. All right. The problem is that this parge coating, if I side light, you will see this wall is leaning right here. It's leaning over, right where that horizontal crack is. So if I get to the side and try to show this to you, right up there, the wall, right where that horizontal crack is leaning forward. And they've done all this nice repair over here that looks so nice. And they got this nice pile of rubble, but check this out. This is the worst section. I came in here and I saw what they were remediating. Now you got this nice big horizontal crack right here, but get this. This is not just a horizontal crack. Let me see if I can show you. That is an inch of displacement. I don't know if the camera is able to show that or not. But that right there is a full inch of displacement in this wall. Okay. They've packed some mortar into this to try to hide this horizontal crack. But if I was able to get the light just right and show you how significant that is, this is when a structural defect is being repaired by handymen improperly and not in accordance with a structural engineer's corrective action report or plan. Okay, and it goes over behind these things. That is a very significant structural crack. Now, what's the bigger issue here? It's not just that this is displaced an inch, but it's displaced an inch in the same exact direction as the south wall. That's the north wall over there. This is the south wall here. This whole entire house has shifted and leaned over to the south. And the amount of lean that I'm seeing in this wall matches perfectly with the amount of displacement that I'm seeing in this wall. Okay? So That right there is not insignificant. I come around this way. Now try to keep in mind, guys, that I'm a non-alarmist, right? That horizontal crack runs all the way across this basement wall, all the way to that corner. I come over to this corner, and what do we see? How much displacement do you guys think that is? That just about covers my entire flashlight. That's how big that gap is right there. The width of my flashlight, which I think is about 1.25 inches. That's how significant the displacement is over here, all the way across this wall. This horizontal crack and that horizontal crack run parallel all the way down this wall, which is a shear crack, which means, like I told you, when the house shifted that direction, it's shifting that masonry. And that's why we're seeing those cracks over here in the corner. That's why we're seeing those strange cracks in that corner. I walked around over here, and lo and behold, how much displacement do you think that is? I don't know if you guys can see that or not. See if I can get this to show. That right there is, I would estimate to be about 1.25 inches displacement. That has all shifted the same direction as the whole house. So here's the bottom line with this house. 3 weeks ago, a home inspector came into this place and said it looks A-okay, no problem at all. I came today to do an inspection, and I actually had my client question what I was saying, and he said to me, well, how could that be when they just had an inspection 3 weeks ago and the inspector said there was no structural concerns? I said, I don't know. I don't know how you walk in here and you don't see an entire house shifted 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches to the south, the wall leaning over, the floor sloping down. I don't know how you look at all that and say, it looks great. This is the kind of thing that upsets me, especially when I know that the inspector that did this is one of the guys that only charges $300 and some change to do an inspection. I don't know how you ever get to the point where significant step cracking is not a structural concern. I don't know how you get to a point where a giant horizontal crack in a wall that runs almost the entire perimeter of a home is not a structural concern. At this particular moment, I actually have structural safety concerns for the occupants of this home that are living here. So I'm going to leave it here. You know, I'm a little bit animated today. I'm a non-alarmist. I normally would be the one to say, this is easy to fix. This needs a structural engineer to evaluate and create a plan for how to fix this right. And this is not going to be cheap. And I will tell you this, the realtor that I did this inspection for is one of the awesomest human beings that I've ever had the privilege of knowing in my whole life, because he looked at me straight in the face and said, you got to tell my clients exactly, what you see. And, I can't let them buy this place. That's ethics, man. All right. I hope you guys are having a good week. It's Monday. I'm going to end it here. And, why don't you guys like this video if you don't mind? That would help me out a lot. And leave some comments below. The videos are starting to gain some traction. I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear questions. And, share this with people. Send them a link. It'll help me grow this channel a little bit.